Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Players Zone YouTube channel. And overnight, Liverpool once again had another setback, a 2-2 draw away to West Ham, and this now officially in my mind ends any hope of any sort of title charge. And the Klopp farewell tour has absolutely come to an end. And come to an end in a way, it's probably not going to be memorable. We obviously had all the drama between him and Salah on the touchline around the 80th minute when West Ham scored their goal. Interesting play from some of his players as well. Mistakes from some of the players involved as well. And it looks like a team that has truly had the battery drained out of them. Lethargic across the last few weeks, conceding goals from set pieces, which hasn't been a problem until recently. And it just looks like right now they are mentally, physically, emotionally, the whole lot drained. And Jurgen Klopp's I am getting tired is looking very, very realistic right now, because he was on the touchline almost dismay what was going on and just flat. He looked not like the Jurgen Klopp that used to, up and down that touchline, barking instructions to his teams. He looked like a man defeated, and it feels like Liverpool have totally been hit for six, it feels like. In this game here, 2-2 result, obviously. But Liverpool, like they have in the last few weeks, have dominated the game in terms of the first half, their possession, creating some good chances. Nothing really massive or meaningful, but enough to say they'd eventually break through and get over the line. But it was West Ham who would take the lead. Corner taken quickly to the feet of Mohamed Kudus. No one seemed to close him, and at halftime on the Premier League shows they were just showing how there was 3 or 4 players, including Andy Robertson, pointing to go to close down Kudus, but no one went. Robertson came a bit too late, but too much time for Kudus to look up, pick his spot, and find Jarrod Bowen and head the ball home. Once again, another goal they concede Liverpool from a set piece. He would come in, flick on the header to make it 1-0. His 16th goal for the season for Jarrod Bowen, so a remarkable season for him, another record for him and West Ham this season. But another bad goal to concede for Liverpool once again, against the run of play a bit. West Ham had their chance on the counter-attack, but it was being shut down relatively well by the likes of Andy Robertson and Virgil van Dijk, alongside Yael Kwanzaa at the back. It was, once again, though, sort of coming in a way. Like, it wasn't like Liverpool hadn't seen this. They had a few corners, West Ham, and once again, first contact was always going to West Ham. Zoom, I think, had it over. Bono had it over as well. So it was like, you got to get first contact. We saw what happened against Everton when they conceded from that Dominic Calvert-Lewin goal for the set piece. They said they'd just be getting beaten to the ball, and there is like vision of basically Cody Gakpo shying away from the ball as Jarrod Bowen comes in and puts his head first to try to head the ball home. So there's some players there that don't really want to put their body on the line, and that's what you need for a title race. We know that, and the past Liverpool teams have known that. The Arsenal team now knows that. Man City team, obviously, it's automatic with these guys, but that's the difference right now. I think there's a few young players in this squad and a few players that don't really want to put their body on the line to commit themselves to work 24/7 to win this title. Obviously now it's all over, but we look at the season, they were looking so good for so well, and I just think it's a fact of just the legs are going, the fatigue is there, because this is a team early in the season that would have put 4 or 5 past West Ham before they scored that first goal there. It was that sort of feeling in this game here. Going to the half-time, 1-0 down, Jurgen Klopp must have inspired the troops, because they come out in the second half and they were on fire. Liverpool, those odd West Ham counter-attacks had just disappeared, and I thought, okay, this is it. Liverpool will put the foot down. They will convert here and turn this game around. And turn around, they started doing in the 48th minute. Andy Robertson would open the account. Ball sort of spilled out to him towards the edge of the area. Ariel got a fingertip on his shot, but ended up crawling into the back of the net there. A massive goal for them, 1-1 in the 48th minute. It was almost like the next 45 minutes, it's the battle of who can be the best team. And Liverpool looked like that team to start the second half off. West Ham, as I said, their flurries into the Liverpool half became more decrease and decrease. Possession numbers in the last 5-10 minutes, those stats popped up, and it was like 90% to 10%. And you just thought, it's a matter of time here before West Ham concede. And it would eventually come. The ball fell to Cody Gakpo from a ball into the area. He had his shot, which deflected off Money, Ogbonna, Souček, and Areola before ending in the back of the net in the 65th minute, which gave Liverpool a deserved 2-1 lead. But all of a sudden, it just took a flick of a switch. West Ham decided to go from sitting in and absorbing pressure to getting on the front foot and attacking Liverpool. And that's where the vulnerabilities came back to life again. Looking slow midfield, overworked in midfield, fatigued in midfield, taking Endo off as well. Probably wasn't the smartest choice late in that game as well, because you lose those legs in midfield. You lose that a bit of grit and determination. Alexis McAllister, who'd been doing so well, looking slower on the ball and getting closed out and having to work too hard to close down the West Ham players. And they just took it on the front foot and they took it on themselves to try and create something in this game here. And West Ham, they would continue to pepper away. But as the other end would happen, it was Liverpool getting in behind the other end. So Diaz had two great counter-attacks, one-on-one with Areola. Both were saved in the 69th and 73rd minute. And at that point in time, you've got to score those chances, at least one of them, to put the game to bed. 3-1, you can control the game, you can run it out and win this game of football. But it's just been a tale of Liverpool across the last sort of 5 to 6 games in all competitions. A lot of chances, a lot of big chances, but unable to take these. And it comes back to haunt you. Look at Atalanta, that first leg in the Europa League. They had some good chances early on. Atalanta built into the game and win that game. Look at like the Manchester United 2 games recently, the League and the FA Cup. You don't take your chance. You don't put a poor team like Man United away. You end up drawing games of football or losing out when you really shouldn't because the chances are there, the possession's there. And this is what this system requires. This system that is so high energy, so attacking, and so relentless going forward. You have to be ruthless because it will come back the other way and bite you in the bum realistically because teams have to sit in, absorb some pressure. If they can get away with a few Liverpool missed chances, they will come and pounce you at the other end when you're not at your best because Liverpool look not at their best. They look fatigued, they look slow, and that's where West Ham did their thing. Emerson came forward and took a long-range effort, was saved by Alisson. The ball was recycled a little bit and it came to Jared Bowen on the flank who whipped a great ball in. Mikel Antonio attacked it, didn't have to do much other than get his head onto the ball and find the back of the net in the 77th minute, and that would be the 2-2, the second goal for West Ham, and the 2-2 result there that would end up being. Liverpool had a few chances to end the game off. Yeah, a great link-up play led to Núñez almost sliding the ball home, but Soufal came from behind him and nicked that ball away. Harvey Elliott nearly found the winner basically with the final kick of the 90 minutes, but his shot came cannoning off the crossbar. And that's how the game would end 2-2. And at full time, it was obviously all the talk about Sala and Klopp's interaction. And, the whole farewell tour has not ended well. There's been memes about it. But on a serious note, this was a chance. Europa League football, Premier League football. I think I was talking to Nathan, a Liverpool fan on our podcast. He never thought the FA Cup was a realistic expectation to go and do all the competitions. But he said Premier League and Europa League are very gettable. And the fact and the way they've capitulated in both competitions is just quite... It's just quite sad in all honesty. What Jurgen Klopp's done for this team, the work he's done, hasn't made too many mistakes with this group this season, but it just feels like the players have just fallen off. Some of the players are maybe not wanting to give it 100%. Some players just totally fatigued. And with some of the injuries they've dealt with throughout the season, it's understandable. It's just quite sad the way it's happened, the way they've been just broken apart piece by piece here across the last month or so, not producing good enough performances, not putting teams away. Crystal Palace comes to mind. That felt like a real big game where it also fell apart. That loss there, when you had all the momentum, you had all the chances, but your big players haven't turned up. And then seeing what Mo Salah and Jurgen Klopp were doing on that touchline there, particularly Mo Salah and the words he was having to his coach, just doesn't look good. I know he's benched him there, but Mo Salah's not been good enough. I've actually called for it to try and change it up top. He is simply being a liability for his Liverpool side. Does not defend. He's not taking his chances. And because Liverpool are so Salah-centric when they play, it takes away from what other players do well, like Diaz, like Jota, and to some degree what Núñez does. But it's good to see Núñez and Salah both benched because they haven't been good enough. They've been missing big chances. They've been the culprits for why Liverpool have struggled across the last month. So understand that. And then the fact that Mo Salah's having words to Jurgen Klopp after the side concedes and makes it 2-2. You should be saying, get me on there. I'm going to go and win you this game. But in fact, he's having a go at him for not starting him or whatsoever. Comes out, walking out of the ground at the end of the game saying if I speak there'll be fire or something, or there'll be things will blow up. I just think the way he's carried on there is just too much for a player that should owe his career to Jurgen Klopp in terms of what he's done for him. I think it's just a poor way to respect him in his final few games. And I hope Liverpool can get some better results end the season off and send off Jurgen Klopp in the way he deserves it, because at full time he always goes over the fans and gives them an applause, but it was a very small lap. Looked quite emotional at full time. And even your Andy Robertson's, your Virgil van Dijk's, were almost in tears as well. They know it's sort of all fallen apart here quite dramatically. So the loss to Everton, the Crystal Palace loss, and then this one here, it just feels like they've had their final knock. They've been put on the canvas and they're out for the count right now. But, I'll come back a video later on this season, maybe the end of the season, about how incredible the season has been. When we think back, the expectations were not to win a title and go for a quadruple. But yet again, Jurgen Klopp with these sides, you think back to that double he did not too long ago, 2 seasons ago. We didn't think that was going to happen. And we didn't think they were going for the quad that season as well when they were going for Champions League and the Premier League as well in that season. He just seems to find this momentum with this group and this quality in this group. This was the start of a new project in many regards. Interesting to see what Arne Slot or Amarim comes in and does with this team, because this was the first season with a whole new style of football, a whole new pace and identity and a whole new players. And I thought it would be a 4 or 5 year project, which Jurgen Klopp would end up finishing with his Liverpool 3.0, 2.0 is how I labelled it, towards the midpoint of the season. But it's going to be left unfinished. It's going to be left a team that did 70% of what it could do, because it's so much quality, so much excitement in this squad here. But what happens now with Mo Salah? What happens to these older players like Virgil van Dijk and also Andy Robertson? Do they hang around and try and stick around with this group, or do they go elsewhere and allow new, fresh faces to go and populate this Liverpool side? Because there's quality there, there's young players there. But with the reaction of Mo Salah there on the sidelines, with how the emotion looked like on Robertson and Virgil van Dijk's face, are they going to want to hang around? Are they going to have to go through potentially another year or so to try and, the new manager, try and find his place in this squad here? It's all up in the air. But all in all, in terms of coming into the season, it's been relatively successful for Liverpool, competing for a Premier League title for 90% of the league season, getting a Carabao Cup. I think the Europa League will be disappointing for them. FA Cup, that happens. But I think, the Europa League, the way they went out and the way it's sort of fallen apart in the Premier League is going to hurt more than, if you just look at it on paper and where they finished. They'll be relatively happy if you told Liverpool fans that at the start of the season, but it's just the way it's all sort of fallen apart here in such dramatic fashion. And obviously social media blows it up bigger in proportion. But all credit to Jurgen Klopp. Hopefully he gets that fairy tale finish in terms of a last 3 or 4 games in the Premier League, get some wins and get the fans on side and get them supporting him, because he deserves that. He's been a great manager for the Liverpool side across many years now. I just thought last night was just the final kick in the stomach and the final blow landed to Liverpool and their hopes of a title. With it all being said, ladies and gents, that brings this reaction video to an end. If you enjoyed it, guys, please make sure to smash a like on it, subscribe to the Player Zone channel for more content like this, and for podcasts and prediction videos. It's all going to live here on the channel. Please press that post notification bell as well, guys, so you know when we upload our podcast videos and prediction videos. Hope you know the rest of the weekend's football action. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys for a video very, very soon. Till next time, guys. See you later.